Hi everyone, this is Julianne Victoria. Welcome to my channel and welcome to the 2022 Year Ahead Vedic Astrology readings. So these readings will be looking at the planetary placements in the year ahead. So the planetary placements on January 1st, 2022 and how they relate to your chart. Of course, as usual, to get a more in-depth personal reading, a personal reading will be required. And I am opening up readings for year ahead readings, Vedic astrology, Western astrology, as well as some tarot reading options. And the link is below in the description box for that. Also, if you're interested in taking one of my online courses that I offer over on Teachable, those will only be available through the end of 2021. And those include the Journey Through the Nakshatras course and Shedding Light on Your Karma and Dharma. Those courses include PDFs and downloads. So if you're interested in those, you want to get them before they're not available anymore, check below, find the links. I'll pin them at the top of the comments as well so you can find them and see if it's something you're interested in. All right, let's get on to our year ahead readings. Hi Leo, welcome to your 2022 year ahead Vedic astrology reading. So here we have the chart laid out for you for January 1st, 2022. These are the placements of the planets, and this energy is what sets off the new year that will play out through the year ahead. So let's start with this axis, the fourth house axis and the 10th house axis, because we have Rahu and Ketu, the nodes here. I always feel like this is a very significant placement for the nodes. So setting up your year ahead, Leo. Let's start with your fourth house of home, family, property. That includes vehicles, boats, etc. It's also a house of mother and past lives, etc. For the most part, it applies to home and where you live or family whom you live with, especially in a general reading like this. So your fourth house, Leo, is the sign of Scorpio, and the ruler of Scorpio, Mars, is here. So there's strong, passionate energy, a lot of fire here concerning home and family. Scorpio is a very intense sign. It's a sign of change and transformation, as well as the mystical and occult. And it's on this nodal axis. So I sense for a lot of Leos out there that you're going to be making changes in your home. Again, it could apply to your family, but I feel it's like you taking action on this. I feel like it's home for the most part, where you live. This can bring about moving away from family possibly, but you really want to take action concerning your home life. And that applies whether you live in an apartment, you rent a room, or you own a house. K2 here, K2 representing in a natal chart, past lives, past karma. In a transit chart like this, like for a year ahead reading, it's more the past, like last year, maybe the last few years, potentially further into the past, excuse me, in this lifetime. So there's a lot of passion and fiery energy to move away from how and where you've lived in the past. And that's why I get this possibly moving away from family. Maybe you've graduated high school and you're going off to college, or you've graduated college, or you've been living with family for financial reasons because of pandemic, etc. And now you're ready to take off and break away from that. You want to step up, move out, and it may not have to do with family. It may just be you're ready to move, you're tired of where you're living, or how you're living, I think may apply for some Leos. That is a reflection of where you live, your location, or potentially family. So it's like bringing in that change and transformation concerning your home life, not wanting what was, and instead focusing on what you're passionate about, what you really desire. Will that all happen this year? Of course, that depends on how this lays on your natal chart, but it is very strong energy for you, Leo, going into the year of 2022. Now, on the opposite side, because the nodes are always opposite each other, we have Rahu here in the 10th house of career. Your 10th house of career is Taurus. Rahu is focus, drive, ambition, as well as karmic action or actions you want to put into play. Now, 10th house is also called the house of karma, and you have Rahu, karma, karma you're putting into play here. So the main focus really is your career. Where you want to go, what do you want to do, what career path do you want, depending on your age and where you are. If you're retired, it's like, what do you want to do in your retirement? What do you want to occupy your time? Do you want to volunteer? Do you want to, it's Taurus, it could be, plant a garden you've always wanted. Many ways that this can play out. So if we look at this axis, this nodal axis, and this is one of the planetary placements, and this is really a transit that every time, as far as I know, that it has occurred, that there will be some shift between work and home and work. And with this energy here, again, it depends on how it lays on your chart and the drishtis involved. But it's likely that because of your career path, where you want to go in life, what you want to do, you will then be able to change your home, or that may trigger a change in your home. Like you take a job and then you need to move or move away from family. Even if you're not living with family, like move to another location than where you grew up, for example. So there's a shift and change, work and home, likely the work career side being the driving force, because that's where the Rahu energy is. Okay. And it feels like growth, change, and transformation in all ways. Okay, so back to your fourth house. So the chart I pulled up, of course, January 1st, but I adjust the time so that the sign that I'm reading for, you, Leo, in this case, will be in the first house. So you can see how this lays on your natal chart easily. However, at midnight on January 1st, 2022, the moon is actually in Scorpio here in the nakshatra of Jeshta, where Mars also is at the Gandanta point. It's an incredibly transformative year because of that for everyone. And for you, it has to do with home life, family life, potentially having to do with your family's customs and traditions as well. So maybe you're moving away from that. But just with the moon here at that point, bringing in the intensity, it brings in also your emotional desires, which you can kind of say with, passion of Mars, but more emotional, intuitive, and for some, even your psychic sense, helping you drive forward, move away from the past, move your home, and that in turn, because they're opposite each other, opposite houses, 7th house drishti are the strongest, also stimulating this motivation to be ambitious in your career and take action on that path of career growth. Now, in the morning, at least in my location on January 1st, the moon then moves into Sagittarius. So I'm actually, for those whose signs the moon has changed, I'm kind of reading it in both positions. And for you, Leo, I feel this is a transition away from, I get subdued energy. I don't want to say hiding with the Scorpio energy, hiding at home, but maybe it has been for some because of the pandemic. You've been working from home, hiding at home, not intentionally hiding, but tucked away at home, working from home. And now in 2022, you get to go out into the work world more, or exposing yourself in your career path more, coming out of hiding, so to speak, right? And then with the moon here, again, at midnight, asking yourself, what do I feel? How do I feel about this? And letting that guide your decisions. So then with the moon here, moving into your 5th house of Sagittarius in the morning for me on January 1st, so that day, it then brings in even more new beginning energies, right? New year, new beginnings. We then have the moon approaching conjunction with the sun. The actual new moon is on January 2nd, but it's entering into the new moon energy here. They are conjoined. And so that just adds to, again, new beginning energy, especially in 5th house energy for you. So 5th house is the house of creativity. Of course, Leo, you're very creative. Your ruler is the sun here in this 5th house of creativity. A new beginning on your creative endeavors, whether you are an artist or you're creating, let's say, a new career or expanding on it, and your creative, I want to say your creative juju goes into it. um, it's a new beginning on that path. Now, fifth house is also a house of entrepreneurship. And so if that ties in with, the karma you want to put into play in your career, in your house of karma, that's beautiful. Plus, your 10th house is Taurus, which is ruled by Venus, who is here. So I can see a lot of Leos expanding upon or going into a more entrepreneurial path this year ahead. This doesn't mean every Leo, of course, because it's a general reading, and where the planets are in your chart is going to determine more specifically. But there is a lot of creative energy with Venus here, coming from deep within with this retrograde energy. Your inner creativity juices just flowing, basically. Maybe that's the theme. Letting your creative juices flow so that you can, the sun, your ruler, the soul significator, so you can shine your brightest to be noticed in the new beginnings that you are putting into action, even if it's still just a thought that's putting into action, or even physically already putting it into action as the year begins. Now, this is energy that sets up the year ahead. So it's going to play out throughout the entire year. Yeah, beautiful energy here. Fifth house is also a house of children. So those Leos wanting or planning or hoping to have children, this is good energy too. Especially with the moon that represents motherhood. So nice placements here in this house. And fifth house is also romance. So I call it the dating house. So single Leos out there, with Venus here in this house, that brings in, love, true love, not superficial love with it retrograde. True love, not retrograde is only superficial, but I see this energy as true love, a new beginning in the romance dating sphere, where you could actually fall in love in this year ahead. This doesn't guarantee it will sustain into like a marriage type relationship, but Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter is here in your 7th house of relationships. So it definitely could lead to that this year. So I would say a higher chance than normal for you to meet someone, fall in love if you're single, and get married or commit to a long-term relationship. And since we're here, Jupiter in the 7th house, again, relationships, specifically spouse, partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, but also business partners and best friends. Jupiter's the great benefic, his growth and expansion energy here for you in your 7th house. I mean, that's always a good thing. He's here in Aquarius. Yeah, that's all I can say. Good things concerning relationships. And if you're already in an established relationship or even a business partnership, etc., this brings nice growth for those relationships. So that's always nice. Lastly, in your 6th house, your 6th house is the sign of Capricorn, and Saturn, the ruler of Capricorn, is here. So Saturn is very strong for everyone heading into this year. And for you, it has to do 6th house, which is work, which may or may not be related to your career. If you're an entrepreneur or looking to start your own business or develop your own business out of a hobby, because 6th house is hobbies. This brings you the discipline to really establish your business, to get that going. And then in combination with the drive and motivation of Rahu here in your 10th, like you could take off, basically, or at least lay those foundations. If it's new, totally new, lay those foundations for a solid business to be built. And you have the drive for it, which is nice. And Rahu does have a drishti here, which is extra beneficial for that. We also have Mercury here, the intellectual mind, which is good for the details, planning the details of work. 6th house is also your lifestyle, your everyday routine, as well as health. And so when it comes to lifestyle, health routines, things like that, like I want to say you'll be meticulous about it and very structured in your daily routine. So especially if you're like trying to change something about your health, like New Year's resolutions type things, like change your diet in some way, or I'm going to start exercising, you have great energy to like set up the routine and stick to it, which is really nice. Okay, I think that covers the planetary placements, the energy heading into the new year of 2022 for you, Leo. Again, all the pertinent links are down below in the description box, and wishing you a wonderful year ahead.